please. Kiss me.
Greetings and salutations. This is Cage's Kiss, your ultimate Cage cast, where we discuss each of the National Treasure's cinematic masterpieces in his life. We also try to glean whatever kernels of wisdom we can from his character that week. I thought I'd lost you, boy. I am Zed, or Adrian.
My name is Linda, but you can call me the cheese. I guess I'm a Parmesan cheese this week because I'm between the rock and a hard cheese. I've got a film, you guys.
That made my gallstones hurt, which I don't have anymore.
Okay, Donnie, who the hell are you?
And you can call me the Pebble.
Dottie can't afford to have gallstones.
I can't. It's a matter of life and death.
It's a matter of life and death, so you'd better summon Ramirez.
Yeah, every time I go to the bathroom now, it's like a Hans Zimmer score just starts playing. It's just... Dun, 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 dun.
Well, folks, this week's The Rock, and so I'm in eternal pain also, despite still having my gallbladder. I'm going to pour me some of this nice, fresh American tequila.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, no, not you and tequila again.
Is it Sam Hagar tequila?
What? Are we saying this didn't go well last time?
Terrible things happen.
55! Oh, Lord.
Oh, well, here's another hour and a half episode.
Yeah. Here goes to another rubber tree plant.
God damn it.
It's going to run the whole length of the rock.
Oh, my God. Okay, so people at home, you already know what The Rock is. Let's not pretend.
Mr. Dwayne Johnson.
Dwayne.
yeah, okay. Yeah, if only the Dwayne Johnson had been in this, son of sweet Emmety Diamond. The Rock from 1996. It made a fuckload of money. It really needs no introduction. It cost the $75 million, but it made something like the $350 million, which is more millions of dollars than they started with. So in the Hollywood, they call that a hit. Now, there's some gobbledygook about Nicolas Cage being some kind of FBI guy and Sean Connery being some kind of guy who was in jail, and Ed Harris vaguely going to this island where I guess there was a jail on it once, but now it's not a jail no more.
The Rock is a tourist attraction?
Tell me more. This is by the now super infamous Michael Bay. This is only his second feature-length film.
Yeah, he was just a baby.
Following Bad Boys, he was just a baby. Yeah, in fact,
baby.
He before this, he done music videos. He did the music video for "And I Would Do Anything."
Oh, Jesus!
Yeah,
but will you do that?
I would do all of that. So he didn't have much clout yet in 1996. And actually, Disney was kind of like, well, I don't know about this guy. He really wants to do the shot of these marine dudes sort of splashing down into the water, and we don't want to spend that much money right now. And Michael Bay's like, no, I want to do it. Shut the fuck up. It's my movie. I'm going to do it my way, you guys. And Disney's all like, let's just shoot it around L.A., save some money. He's like, no, that island's so fucking bitchin'. Direct quote, by the way.
Wow. I thought his direct quote was, I need craw, and then scrish, and then kaplaw.
Yeah. That's another direct Michael Bay quote. The Disney executives were going to like wag their finger at him and say, you can't have that shot of the divers. That costs money. And then Sean Connery was playing golf, and he's like, oh, Michael Bay, you're having some trouble with some executives. Just let me join you in there in the room. And Disney's like, so Michael Bay, about the things, and Sean Connery was all like, oh, there aren't any things, boy. He's directing this movie. You're going to put in a scene with the divers.
Do you have a wife I could slap?
That's how we say hello in Scotland.
Yeah, well, my old man was Irish.
Well, I'll tell you what, the way that he looked in this movie, I wouldn't mind if he slapped me around a little bit.
Oh, thank you, sir. Yeah. Especially after his haircut.
Yeah, he cleans up.
No, I'd say before. Okay.
You want the
Grungy
grunge look,
bitch.
Connery. So, apparently, so for some reason, and this is the riddle of the ages. For some reason, The Rock is on a Criterion DVD.
Yep.
Which doesn't make any sense, but the features are interesting. On it, Jerry Bruckheimer actually recounts a story about how Michael Bay really, really, really wanted to be James Cameron.
Yes.
He wished, like every 5-year-old boy, which Michael Bay will always be, he wanted to be James Cameron more than anything in the whole wide world, and he wanted to be a giant douche on set, just like Cameron is famous for being. And Jerry Bruckheimer said, quote, James Cameron's a total asshole. Why the hell would you want to emulate that? And I may not like Jerry Bruckheimer, but damn, was he ever right?
He was.
This is the last movie from the great movie producing team, Don Simpson and Jerry Bruckheimer, which terminated from Don Simpson having a massive cocaine-induced heart attack while this movie was being made.
It wasn't just the cocaine, but
No,
also
it wasn't only cocaine. No, yeah, he had 200 other drugs in his system at the time of his death.
Yeah, including antipsychotics,
Yeah,
antidepressants,
it's because he went to
sedatives.
15. He cycled through 15 different doctors, and he spent $60,000 a month on prescription drugs. He loved cocaine. He loved hookers. He loved S&M.
As you do.
He was a treasure. But you know, the odd thing is that Don Simpson was actually the balancing factor in that team. If you see Jerry Bruckheimer's movies after Don Simpson's death. And Don Simpson actually wrote a couple of things early on before he turned full time to producing. He actually wrote Paul Bartel's Cannonball.
Oh.
Which
I don't know
think
why
is
I thought you were going to
terrific.
say Paul Blart.
No. Oh, okay.
The
Although,
classic.
let me give a shout out to my friend Joseph at the gym, who was actually writing a Paul Blart sequel.
Wow.
Jesus.
Yeah, no, Joseph, if you're listening, you're amazing.
Dog
You
speed,
can achieve your
sir.
goals.
He can. But Don Simpson and Jerry Bruckheimer, before I lose the thread in my tequila haze here, so they worked together throughout the 80s into the mid-90s, and they did pretty famous stuff like Top Gun, Flashdance, Michael Mann's Thief, Beverly Hills Cop. And on this particular movie, actually, you can see the Don Simpson touch is that it's very well documented that the Ed Harris character was very much his idea and like everything that went with it, which is like the most real thing in this batshit mess of a film.
True.
Yeah,
Just out of place, so.
yeah. I'll tell you. I'll tell you what's out of place. Like, you will give that order. I cannot give that order. You will give the order. What's the matter with you, soldier?
I'm particularly a fan of like the opening scene, one of the opening scenes of the tombstone that says his wife.
Yeah. Guest written by Peter Griffin.
She had died of a rotten vagina.
Like, I wonder who's buried there.
And says, I miss you. And then he puts the bullet on the tombstone because he doesn't need it anymore. He's no longer a lethal weapon.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh.
So I'm glad you mentioned the Ed Harris. The Ed Harris is kind of famous because he was in stuff like Creepshow.
Yeah.
And he was in Alex Cox's Walker.
You
And
said Cox.
so, come on, Alex Cox, man. He did Repo Man.
I know.
But
Good
so
stuff.
Ed Harris did this movie in between doing the god-awful An Eye for an Eye with Sally Field and before doing Clint Eastwood's Absolute Power. Just to ground it in his career for you folks. And for the Sean Connery, who also needs no introduction.
But let's do it anyway.
Let's do it anyway. Well, this is actually one of 3 movies he did in 1996. The other ones being the abysmal First Night with the Richard Gere.
Oh, whoa.
Yeah, and being the voice of a CGI dragon in Dragonheart.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
I had a classmate freshman year who said, it's like, man, everybody wants Connery. After Dragonheart, everybody wanted the fucking dragon.
You're the man now, dragon.
And after this movie, he did The Avengers, the one with Uma Thurman and Ralph Fiennes, and Playing by Heart. But we all know that Sean Connery's best movie of the 1990s was Highlander 2, the Renegade version.
Hell yeah.
You both shall have your full measure of life. Use it well.
Oh.
Is he Egyptian? Is he Scottish?
It's
Nobody
a can of
knows.
magic.
Nobody
Is he
cares.
Spanish?
Ramirez! There can be only one. It's really too bad Christopher Lambert and Ice-T weren't in this movie. They really would have completed the picture.
Albert Pyun's The Rock.
Oh, God, no.
So, I know you guys have a lot to say. We all have a lot to say because it's The Rock. But before we go any further, I'd just like to mention another star in this movie. Fucking Bokeem Woodbine.
Hell yeah.
Star of Crooklyn, Strapped, and Wishmaster 2.
Yeah.
Witness him.
He does. I don't know if he actually gets any full-on lines in this, but he's totally fucking there. There's no mistaking but Bokeem Woodbine.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And he was also in 3,000 Miles to Graceland, but he dies in like the first 5 minutes. So,
If anyone has any power out there, could we please have a Wishmaster versus Leprechaun finally? I kind of need
fuck
that.
yeah!
Full moon,
wishes
come for us,
my
man.
child.
Oh,
Speaking of awesome series, by the way, Believe in Me, Be My Victim.
Oh my God.
Jesus.
Tony fucking Todd! Tony Todd! Tony Todd was not only the Candyman, by the way, contrary to
He's
popular
also
belief.
the Rocket Man?
Yeah, in this he's the Rocket Man. Nicolas Cage launches a missile into him. In one of the most memorable scenes in the film. They're discussing Elton John. It kind of got out of hand. But Tony Todd was also in Platoon and The Crow.
Oh, that's right. I didn't remember
Yeah.
Platoon. You're right.
Yeah, he was totally in there. Yeah, a lot of people were kind of on the side in Platoon, just like a lot of people were just like randomly on the side in this movie. It's like, holy fuck, what a cast! What are they doing in this?
Yeah.
It was just another Tuesday.
Just another Sunday.
God damn it.
So Michael Bay's a dick.
No.
Yeah.
So the car chase in this movie, the one where they're going around San Francisco and the camera's just kind of shaking around on them and while they're pretending to be
I
driving.
hardly noticed that.
Yeah.
It was a subtle effect.
That was not in the original script. That was thrown in. I think I don't know whether or not it was thrown in after test audiences or not. But Michael Bay said there was, quote, a big flat hole in the script at that point.
Wow.
I don't know how you get a flat hole. They kind of have
Yes.
depth. So but this shows the level of intelligence we're dealing with. It's Michael Bay.
And he wanted to get a younger audience involved.
Right, he wanted to
and
attract a
interested.
younger audience. And in the 90s, you did attract the younger audiences to R-rated movies, by the way.
Yeah.
Nowadays, you cannot make $300 million with an R-rated movie, but in the 90s, like, you couldn't make $300 million unless you made an R-rated movie. So that's I don't really miss the 90s, mind you, but in those that is one way in which I think it was better.
It was,
And-
but you also had movies like The Relic that actually got theatrical releases instead of direct to video, and those things were really popular back then too. It's like you just don't have a lot of those movies doing that now. They just don't have
Yeah.
the pull they used to.
Yeah, I remember
Not saying
every
they're
kid in my
great,
high
but-
school would be talking about shit like that too. They'd be all upon for the Relic or the Puppet Masters or some shit like that.
Oh yeah,
And looking
yeah.
back, it's like I guess it's a little ho hum. It's no Highlander 2.
No, nothing is Highlander 2.
But apparently,
It's no Doll Man.
Doll Man versus the Demonic Toys.
We love you,
Mark-
Tim Thomerson.
I love him
do.
so much because dry hair is for squids.
Yes.
But Mark
nothing
Rossner,
but love for him.
who was one of the writers on this, he worked on the VTV series. He's the one who, when Michael Bay suggested they get a car chase, Mark Rossner's like, why the hell are you talking about demographics? I thought we were making a movie. And Michael Bay's like, this is a business. Stupid Mark Rossner never worked on a real movie. And it's like, yeah, he only worked in TV, really. But, Michael Bay's still a bitch.
Yeah.
The other writers were actually a writing team. They were David Weisberg and Donald S. Cook. After this, they wanted to do Double Jeopardy with Ashley Judd,
Wow.
which
Woof.
is if you think this is a turd, that's like a double turd. It's like the cross joint from Pineapple Express, only as a turd.
I sadly can see that.
It doesn't matter that most of these guys wrote it because Sean Connery's like, my dialogue kind of sucks. And he's like, hey, Dick Clement and Ian Lafrenas, my screenwriter friends from England, could you rewrite my dialogue? And they're like, sure, no problem. And they showed up and rewrote basically all the dialogue.
Which really pissed off the writers.
Well, they do suck. I mean...
And even Aaron Sorkin helped punch up the script.
They had a few people in to punch it up at various times. I think Tarantino might have been brought on also.
Yeah,
yes,
he was uncredited, yeah.
Because he'd worked for Bruckheimer Simpson before on Crimson Tide, which is a better movie than this one. This movie was shot by a John Schwartzman, who is actually Nicolas Cage's cousin by marriage.
Oh, Schwartzman.
Yeah,
okay.
Natalia Shire is his stepmother.
Yeah.
And he shot fuck awful shit like Armageddon, Pearl Harbor, Meet the Fockers, but he also shot Rockula.
Oh,
Yeah.
We have to make you watch it sometime.
I know
Adrian.
you have to. Oh, by the way, we got a lot of comebacks in this one. By the way, just because the cast is so huge and varied, it's like a Top Gun type cast. It's just there's so fucking many. So we got Michael Biehn again, from Deadfall, who was apparently very intimidated to be working around Sean Connery in Real Marines. Because Michael Biehn had played Marines a whole bunch of times, but he had never been one. He's like, oh man, they're real Marines. I'm not fit to lead them. Oh, what am I going to do? Oh no.
And he kept freezing.
They're going to figure out I'm a chicken shit faker. It's like,
I guess I can just do my best.
Well, I guess his star hadn't quite fallen all the way into the toilet since his name is right below the title.
Yeah.
Even though he's not really in it that much, he's in this about as much as Steven Seagal was in Executive Decision.
Yeah.
Well, I think they thought that they were doing something clever and doing like a Hitchcock like psycho fake out. Where it's like, Michael Bihn's totally in this. He's going to totally survive.
Yeah, they do scrub a lot of people in that scene, and it's for the better.
Yeah.
Other people returning, we got Philip Baker Hall, who played Cage's dad in fucking Kiss of Death. And we got William Forsythe back from Raising Arizona. Funny story about William Forsythe on this picture is that he went to, while they were shooting, he went to go to the hot dog stand for the cast, right?
Oh, yes.
And the person running the hot dog stand was like, this is for cast members only. Extras don't get to go to this. And William Forsythe's like, are you kidding me? I'm William Forsythe. I was on the Untouchables TV series. I was Once Upon a Time in America. Why can't I get a hot dog? He's like, you ain't no cast member. You an extra. And eventually, the hot dog stand lady summoned security, and the security is like, that's William Forsythe. And when William Forsythe finally got his hot dog, he's like, I've been shooting on this movie for 3 weeks, and they don't know I'm in it. And he's like, and then he was like, my God, what are they feeding the extras? Fucking trail mix? This place is fucking savage. Poor William Forsythe.
It does totally beg that question. Like, what the hell were they feeding them?
If you were an extra
hot dogs
movie, you could not even get a hot dog.
But meanwhile, like Michael Bay and the producers were getting like steak.
You get the scraps left over from Michael Bay's whores when they're done eating his scraps. That's what you get.
God.
You get
they
the
don't eat
bone.
with their mouths neither. Whereas Sean Connery didn't want to take the ferry into the island every day, so he had the producers build him a cabin on Alcatraz.
How fucking badass is that?
Well, if
like,
you're
I want
Sean
to reach
Connery,
that
you can
level
have whatever
sometime.
you want. You can make Rising Sun and Just Cause, and people will still buy your movie tickets. It's amazing.
I kind of have a 7 Degrees story about that ties in with Highlander, but it's kind of way off there.
I want to hear all about the Highlander.
Well, a friend of mine, his grandfather was called in to rewrite the original script they had for Highlander. The original script, the Highlanders were not Scottish. They were Native American. And they just felt at the time that people weren't ready for Native American heroes on screen. So they gave Larry Ferguson the script. He rewrote it, and he was researching Scottish history at the time. So he made everything centered in the Scottish Highlands. And they were still not sure about it because he wanted to get a big-name actor to play Ramirez. And they weren't sure about the cost with going over to Scotland and filming, but then they found out Sean Connery lived nearby, and they'd approached him about it. So then they're like, well, all right, fuck it. Maybe we'll actually do something with this. Then by the time they started getting to filming and it was near done, he decided, you know what, this is going to be a piece of shit movie. I don't want to be attached to this. So he sold his share to the other writers that helped on this, and he gets no credit for this whatsoever.
Holy damn.
I know.
Sean
Funny
Connery
how
was
the
cast
world
just because
works.
he was hanging out nearby. That's
Yeah.
so random.
Yeah. So, as you were
The
saying...
more you know.
Here we are.
God damn.
Silver Kings. We are
Don't
the
sue
princes
us.
of the
Don't sue us.
Please don't sue us. Please don't sue us.
I'm still waiting for Gene Simmons to go away. He won't leave.
I have a coworker who insists she's the biggest Queen fan in the universe. She did not know who Brian May was.
Jesus Christ.
She needs to shut the fuck up. I'm still on my first shot. Maybe I should pace myself this time. I don't know.
No,
Otherwise, I'm
you
gonna be
need to do it,
challenging
and I'll
you
give
all
you
to, like, arm
background
wrestle.
music. It's like da 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 da.
Okay, what's going to have to happen, Adrian, is you and I are both going to separately have to run down some stairs, push over some bellboys, crash into some dishes, and then get in a car chase.
Yes, get in the Humvee so I can
Give me
call
back
you.
my Hummer.
This is my
I'm
Humvee.
only borrowing your Humvee.
Oh,
You're
you know,
a ridiculous ethnic stereotype.
I have a sort of kind of funny
Shock
story
it,
about
Trebek.
that guy. The guy, the owner of the Humvee.
The Humvee.
He's
Yes,
the Humvee. He also had his car stolen from Ed Harris in National Treasure 2: Book of Secrets.
Oh shit!
Oh, was that the guy? I thought the guy that got knocked down and had the bike taken was the guy.
Wow.
But I have been drinking.
No.
Well, at the same time, Ed Harris did play the exact same character in National Treasure 2 as he did
Which
in
was
this
also
movie.
by Jerry Bruckheimer and also from Disney.
Well,
Thanks,
the guy,
Disney.
the
Thank
guy
you
that
so
had
bloody
his
much.
Humvee stolen, it was Hans Georg Struhar.
Yeah.
And he's only had those 2 acting roles because he's actually a costume and wardrobe guy.
And mostly
and-
he just drives Humvee.
Yes, but he was in this movie he was Sean Connery's dresser, and he's actually been in charge of Cage's personal costuming for numerous films, including Bangkok Dangerous, Next, and World Trade Center.
Jesus.
Bangkok, sure.
We're
We're
gonna get to
going
that.
to have to watch it again at some point.
We are crashing
Very
towards
dangerous.
that inevitability.
I hate the Pang brothers.
Just think about
also,
Gone in 60 Seconds.
Let's run. Also in The Rock, by the way, we get David Morse, John
Yes.
Spencer from The West Wing, and John C.
Yes.
McGinley.
Mm.
Dr. Cox.
John C. McGinley, who was in Highlander 2, The Quickening.
God damn it.
Hells yeah!
I didn't know that. I just knew about him in Scrubs.
You didn't know that, dude? John C. McGinley's been in a fuckload of things. I've actually seen his
Yeah.
first 5 films. He's in like everything. I'm pretty sure
Apparently
he's
I've
in
got
not
to
a head
rewatch.
without a name.
I've got to rewatch Highlander.
Oh,
The
by the way,
Highlander
Cage's fiance and girlfriend is Vanessa Marcel from Beverly Hills 90210.
Oh.
And General Hospital, one of our parents' stories.
Right, and she's hardly done any films, and she's done a lot of TV, and she sucks. I don't know if you
Yeah.
know this, but she really just sucks. I don't know how the hell she got in this movie. She's terrible.
The only
I hate her
thing
so-
she seemed concerned with was finishing fucking Cage.
Yeah, it's like, I want to keep riding your
I
dick
bet.
because I'm Catholic. Did I mention I'm Catholic?
Yeah,
trying
I'm
to find my
unmarried and
character
I have
really
a
hard.
baby and I'm Catholic.
Do you like
But she
the
was
flip-flops
also,
on me? Oh my god.
She was also naughty.
By the way, speaking of people who suck, Jim Caviezel was in this movie as the rear F-18 pilot. Because
Yeesh.
fuck him.
Yeah.
And while we're on the subject of fuck him, Donnie, you mentioned Hans Zimmer earlier.
Yes.
The most generic composer since James Newton Howard.
Yes.
He did the
And-
scores to Chill Factor, Drop Zone, Pacific Heights, Pearl Harbor, Hannibal, Why, who could forget those scores?
Yeah, and we
Anybody.
were actually talking about that last night, Lucille and I. We were trying to decipher if it was him, because I told her it was Hans Zimmer that did the score, and she thought it was the man who did the score for the first Pirates of the Caribbean. Another very bland man who also kept repeating the same score most of his life.
Yeah, it's like incidental music. I don't know what that means.
Yeah.
You will forget this.
And it's an action movie, so that means the music can never, ever stop.
No.
Ever.
Yeah, thank you, Hans Zimmer, for making me miss the soundtrack from Leaving Las Vegas. Thank you so very much. I didn't think anybody could do it, but you managed it.
Yeah, where was Sting in all this?
Yeah.
And of course, in this movie, they used a lot of Cage's input, which he loves.
You can see that.
It was his idea for his character never to swear and just say things like "gee whiz."
Yeah, and it was his idea to make him a music lover.
Because I'm a Beatlemaniac.
After talking to a person who was actually doing this sort of job in the real world, he decided that his character would not want to bring a child into the world, and also, he says, quote, "The fact of the matter is I rewrote most of my dialogue."
Yeah.
Also, he changed the name from Bill to Stanley.
Oh, really?
Yeah. There are two different reasons for that.
He's like, I feel like my character's not nerdy enough. I need a nerd name like Stanley. Thank you.
Well, he said that he changed the name Stanley because his dentist was named Stanley, and he thought that he could use a lot of his mannerisms. But
and he also
that,
borrowed things from Richard Dreyfuss and Jaws.
Yes, he did. But he said that Connery was really happy when he changed the character's name to Stanley because Connery wanted them to have a sort of Laurel and Hardy vibe to their duo.
Apparently, Cage is why Connery wanted to do this one, actually.
Yes. And he ended up
so
sort
bizarre.
of becoming a mentor to him.
Nice.
Yeah, in fact,
that's
okay.
which is kind of sad because this is the movie where Cage's career all went wrong.
Yeah.
Believe it or not, it was actually going well before this.
He said he felt that Sean was a mountain of wisdom, and he said, quote, "He became to some extent a mentor to me, which is a difficult relationship for actors to find. He likes actors, and he doesn't like to be bullshitted or double-crossed. He validated some of my thoughts that I was concerned about. He's enjoying a career where he's at the top of his form at his age, which is remarkable. I mean, who gets to act that long and still be the event with every movie? I would ask him questions about determining image, the movie star image. What about an actor who wants to change his voice or his look? He said, don't worry about that. Don't concern yourself with image. Just do your work."
Yeah. And
So
then
he
over the
did
top
entrap
gay guy
me.
cuts Connery's hair.
God, yes.
I felt it was kind of eerie and serendipitous, Linda, that the other week that you mentioned Claire Farwani, and here she is in this useless movie.
Yes.
In one scene.
I must have just forgotten, and subconsciously it popped up because I knew
who the
that this was
fuck
coming
is
up.
she all of a sudden? I'm a movie star, really? It's like, no, dearie, no, you're not.
Well, she was in Meet Joe Black and Mallrats, and then briefly in this, very briefly in this.
She was one of the chicks in Mallrats, huh?
Yeah.
But she wasn't the one who went, you fucker.
No.
No.
That was
No, I think that was Joey Lawrence.
Okay.
Or Troy.
The same one from Chasing Amy.
Yeah. It was the
Yeah.
chick from Chasing Amy.
That one.
Kevin Smith, everybody. Kevin Smith.
He has a small penis and almost died.
For Clerks, actually, one of the movie posters advertised it as being the most profitable movie of its year.
Mm-hmm.
Because they're like, oh, well, Batman Forever might have made some money, but it cost this much. Whereas Clerk cost this much and made this much. Clerks, everybody. Clerks.
Miramax, won't you?
The Weinsteins. They're all crazy. What? You got all these decisions to make as a director. I'm going to recast the lead and I'm going to rape you. Also, I may hit you in the face.
I've got a very busy schedule, you see.
He's like that politician in Detroit 9000. You know, he gets off in 30 seconds, and then the hooker is sent on her way.
Damn it. Speaking of gross, in the scene where Nic Cage is playing the guitar, Naggy.
Yeah, you need that.
Yes, the Gretchen guitar.
Yeah, it was his plan to do that whole scene just like in purple Speedos, just hanging around the house.
Wow.
Good idea. Yeah, it's like, I defeated a terrorist bomb today, so I figured I'd go home early and play guitar naked. Yeah, what was your news, baby? Hi, Nicolas Cage. I'm pregnant. I'm your girlfriend. Hey, hello.
You gotta love that writing. Like, I just don't see why anybody would want to bring another child into this world. Oh, I'm pregnant.
It's the
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, you also left out the best part, which is the ending, and how that just really leaves to question why he did what he did to Cage, and what Cage is going to now do with what he gave Cage.
Yeah, they were going to do a sequel, actually. Well, Michael Bay wanted there to be a sequel where Cage gets the government chasing him because he has the government secrets now, and then Sean Connery as John Mason has to help him out of it. And it's not necessarily a bad idea. I mean...
Yeah, it's just, again, what was he going to do with these secrets? Were they going to blackmail people for the rest of their lives and make money off of it?
He was just going to tell his wife about who killed JFK, and he was going to have a giggle, and then... See, this is the thing about Michael Bay, too. It's like, hey, look, guys, there's Marines, and the government has shady cover-ups. It's fun! It's like, do you think maybe that's wrong? It's like, what's right or wrong? I need things to explode.
Honestly,
and then he was going to start WikiLeaks.
Honestly, this movie, the thing that this movie does for me is it reminds me of something that somebody did called Freddy Got Fingered, where Tom Green is like, I'm just going to throw all this shit together because you want me to make a movie. And it's like, that's how the ending felt when all of a sudden he's like, it's okay, everything's better, look, we got the jewels. And they take a scene right out of fucking Goonies for no fucking reason. And like, oh yeah, everything's gonna be okay. It's like, there was no need for this.
Yeah. And he had Rip Torn, though.
I mean, Freddy Got Fingered does improve when you consider it's just like, fuck you for paying to see this.
Yeah.
Whereas Michael Bay is doing that, but not intentionally. He doesn't even know. He's like a child.
Yeah. He's a child.
Fucking Transformers. Fucking The Island. I'm Ewan McGregor. I'm briefly famous. I'm going to star in this piece of shit.
Hey,
God.
Don't talk shit about
Michael
McGregor.
Clark Duncan tripped over his own intestines. You broke my nose. I surely love soccer.
Would this be a good time for a break?
I think so.
I've only had 2 shots. Fuck you. We can keep this afloat.
Hey, Christy, what do we talk about on our podcast?
Well, Ashley, we talk about all kinds of weird stuff.
Like aliens.
And ghosts.
And cults.
And cryptids.
And witches.
And murders.
Yeah, even sometimes murders. Basically, we talk about all kinds of weird shit.
Oh, I already said that.
Oh.
So yeah, if you like weird topics, feminist rants, and the occasional F-bomb, you should listen to us.
We post new episodes every other Weird Wednesday.
Find us online at that'sweird.org.
Listen to That's Weird on Apple, Spotify, Stitcher, or wherever you get your podcasts, and follow us on social media at That's Weirdcast.
Who wants to talk about the nerve gas and how you don't actually inject yourself with the heart until you've actually been exposed to it?
Oh, with the gas that's supposed to kill you almost immediately after your skin is melted off and your insides go blah.
Yeah. So the nerve gas is
like
real,
that sound effect.
and the antidote is real, apparently, according to trivia. Although it doesn't come in stupid, easy to break glass beads, by the way. That's utter bullshit. A fun fact, though, about this movie, though, apparently it came to attention again in the early 2000s when British intelligence followed a source that confirmed that Saddam Hussein had weapons of mass destruction and nerve gas. Mm-hmm. And then they're like, wait a minute. This source's description of the device is eerily like the one in The Rock. And they're like, wait a minute. Nerve gas isn't kept in beads of glass balls. That would be stupid. They're really easy to break, like in The Rock. And
well,
the
at least we
screenwriter's like, it's
waste
like,
tax dollars.
wait a minute,
going after
why
that.
did we go to war based on you guys not checking this guy's description? Didn't you consult a chemical weapons expert? Are you stupid? And apparently they are. And Tony Blair knew about it, and we went to war anyway. The Rock, everybody. Don't mess with Texas. I don't know if I've made it clear yet, but I don't like this movie.
Oh, yeah.
Really?
I actually used to like it until me and Linda, our cousin Mike, started going on and on about how he looked like Nic Cage, and people confused him for Nic Cage.
Cousin Mike was the one who thought he was hot because he looked like Nic Cage?
Yes.
Okay.
And he would keep repeating after he and I saw us in the theater the stupid-ass line of, "I'll take pleasure in gutting you, boy." And he would just say it over and over and quote the movie over and over. So it kind of erased the movie from our heads.
And he was like, "I'm a chemical super freak!"
And he wouldn't let my dad and I enjoy Meet Joe Black because he had to go on and on about how Claire Forlani has the perfectly sculpted face. And she's just perfect.
But no, she don't. She's Claire Forlani.
We're like, yeah, that's nice.
He also
I've
had
tried to
an
watch
obsession
Brad
with
Pitt's eye.
Jennifer
Nobody.
Aniston, which says a lot. Jennifer
So-
Aniston, if you're listening, change your fucking hairstyle for once in your goddamn life.
Why do you
Honey,
think Brad dumped you? You were boring.
All right, you bitches have to shut up about my girl Jennifer.
No, she needs to change.
That movie, rumor has it, was fucking terrible.
She will let herself decide about that.
Okay, she can let that. I'm just saying, while she's letting herself decide, Sarah Jessica Parker is flying circles around her. Thank you.
Just saying.
Didn't she just get an Oscar like an Oscar nom?
I think which one did this? I don't even pay
Jennifer
attention
Aniston.
to the Oscars anymore. It's all shit.
Okay. Anyway, Cage movie.
I have been drinking tequila. Okay, so since you brought it up, Donnie, I think I saw this in the first place after having seen Armageddon.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And being that I was like
Armageddon.
15 at the time, I was all for Armageddon. I'm like, it's really stupid and impossible, but I'm for it. It's fine. It's fine.
Yeah.
I guess it's not so fine, but it's fine.
Well, no, and it kind of goes in with this. It goes in with The Rock,
By the way,
Armageddon,
this is the same president in
and
both films.
Con Air. They're all essentially the same movie.
Oh yeah, no, they're all just Jerry Bruckheimer jerk off bullshit.
Yeah.
I mean, like, you can't take this seriously, even if you like it. It's a popcorn movie. You just have to acknowledge this is a popcorn movie.
Absolutely.
Don Simpson lent it a little class before his massive cocaine-induced heart attack, but this is popcorn Hollywood shit.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Well,
why
like
that
the
car chase
fact,
is in it.
like there's the fucking boiler is on for Alcatraz.
Yeah.
Like, why would
it's
they
a
have the
tourist
boiler
attraction,
running?
and yet they have this weird machine with incomplete gears and flamethrowers.
It
spinning
reminded me
around.
of Galaxy Quest when they're like, "Why is
memorized
this here?"
Yeah, it's the Omega-13. Connery has to get through the Omega-13, and it's like I actually wrote a little note about this. It's like every Michael Bay movie is part music video, part commercial, part video game, and a whole lot of shallow Americana masturbation.
Yes.
Yeah, nailed it.
And then there's the whole like
Sunshiny,
mine cart,
backlit, like truck driver, fucking Mercedes, like glossy, completely artificial, and if anything is dirty or grungy, it's like all out, like fake ass dirty grungy, like all the scenes on Alcatraz. And they really did shoot on Alcatraz, but there's so much fake shit in there. It's like, I don't believe
like
they have
the
this at
fucking
Alcatraz.
mine carts. Like, why are there fucking
it's
mine
just
carts?
because they
down
mentioned
there.
briefly about how it was used as a Civil War fort.
Well,
That's the only excuse that brings that in.
nobody's successfully mapped the area under Alcatraz because it's been rebuilt so many times. It's a maze of shit, says Michael Bain. I'm in this movie too. Remember me? I was in William Friedkin's Rampage. I'm a movie star.
You saw my butt.
I need some behind the scenes goodness on this because I really hate this movie.
I came across time for you, Sarah.
God damn it.
I shouldn't have said that.
So there had been numerous rewrites to the script from the producers, the director, Connery's writers, and the writers were pissed that everyone else was getting credit. I think kind of rightly so. And David Weisberg said, quote, Nic Cage, Sean Connery, Michael Bay, and Jerry Bruckheimer would not have been there if it had not been for our writing the dialogue and creating the characters. For Nic Cage for Nic Cage to look at a line he rewrote and take responsibility is insulting. It remains ours. The characters, the story, the action are the same as we wrote.
The writer of Double Jeopardy, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Ashley Judd. My husband's supposed to be dead, but he ain't dead. I'ma kill him. Well, I'm Tommy Lee Jones, Ashley Judd. I don't think I can let that happen.
Also, there was that scene where they're both shot from like below and they're in the water and there's like a fireball above them.
In which Michael Bay really endangered Nicolas Cage and Sean Connery.
Totally did.
They really did not want to do that because there was a real fucking fireball and a real chance that they could both fucking die. Two bankable stars.
They had to have two people holding both of them down for 45 seconds in the water. And if they got to the surface, their faces and their hair would burn. So Connery was rightfully pissed. And he told Michael Bay, quote, if I screw up, my hair is going to burn off. Is that right? Why don't you fucking try it?
Yeah, this is the thing about this movie, about Michael Bay and Jerry Bruckheimer movies, especially in the 90s in general, is that a lot of the things that are done in this movie could have been done other ways or left out, and the movie would have been perfectly fine. You know, like they could have done optical effects, you know. Mm-hmm. They could have done maybe CGI, or they could have just not done the scene and had it work just as fine, or do like Tony Scott did in Top Gun and have a lot of really creative editing.
Or just have George Miller direct it because holy shit. But Michael Bay wants to do everything for real. He wants to blow a fuckload of money. He doesn't want to blow a little bit of money. He wants to blow a fuckload of money. And like his dad, James Cameron, for some reason it always works out for him, except for Pearl Harbor. It's like it doesn't really end anything. It doesn't make it a better movie, and Michael Bay's directing it, so it makes it a worse movie at the end of the day.
I have a fun little cagey fact from the movie.
Ooh, a cagey fact.
Cage facts. Yeah. When in the scene where at the toward the end where he's holding the flares and he's just kind of screaming.
Yeah.
He based that scene on Modine screaming and Birdie when the birds have been incinerated. And he didn't find the gay hairdresser offensive. In fact, he said that Michael takes chances with his humor.
Apparently if you inject yourself in the heart with atropine, and by the way, in reality it's in the thigh most of the time. But if you inject yourself with atropine, you can't wave flares or do anything. You can do nothing. You just sit there while it speeds up your heart rate to counteract fucking nerve gas.
Now, see, that would have made the beginning even funner.
You want me to inject myself in the fucking heart with this shit? Yeah, he's got his bald coworker there. It's supposed to be like the comic relief. It's like, I almost inject myself in the fucking heart. It's like, yeah, we get it, in the heart. Okay, you're setting up later in the film.
Well, I failed anatomy, but like, wasn't that a little too low?
It was in his intestines, yeah.
Yeah, I thought so.
What? Put it where it's good. You know, put it in the gut.
They're not going to Tarantino this shit and just put a red magic marker on their chest.
That was fucking tripping.
Goddamn! I said, goddamn! Goddamn!
I think we need to stop beating a dead horse, because when we remind ourselves that Tarantino was ever good, we have to also remember the last 20 years, and it makes me sad.
Yeah.
Should we just take a moment?
When I first saw this movie, this is another movie I rented with my brother back in the day, you know, and my mom. We'd seen Armageddon, and we were all fired up. We're like, hey, guys, it's another Michael Bay movie. Yeah, that doesn't have a negative connotation yet, because Pearl Harbor hasn't come out yet. Yeah, let's watch The Rock.
Are you getting it? Armageddon it.
Come and get it from me.
I see what you did there.
I was relatively well with the movie, up to the point where what's his name from The West Wing starts talking about the alien landing at Roswell.
Oh God, yeah.
And
yeah.
I'm like, oh, okay, so this isn't a real movie. This is a
So that's where you checked reality out, not the whole car chase explosions in San Francisco.
No, look, like, I was waiting on the James Bond movies. I'm used to there being excessive action and a movie being kind of ridiculous. I can live with that for the most part, but there's always the straw that's going to break the camel's back. This is apparently no longer a thing. But for me, it was the Roswell line, and I'm like, really? I don't know if I would have included that.
So
honestly,
you just
for me, what
don't want to see the truth for Roswell.
Yeah, what broke my back in this was when they had the murder ball players going down the street. That's what broke it for me.
Oh yeah, I could see that too. That was Michael.
Like we had a water truck, we had explosions, we had food stands. I mean, goddamn! I was like, now you have wheelchair-bound athletes.
Linda, I know you're a witness, and like I told Timmy, I'm not saying that there aren't extraterrestrials and that they haven't visited. I'm saying that the people who say that they've encountered one are usually full of shit.
That's true.
Yeah.
Okay,
do you remember Strange Universe? Do you remember the show Strange Universe from back in the 90s? It's a strange universe out there, and we've got it covered.
Yeah.
And they'd show like an actual real video somebody took of a UFO, and they're like, "What is that? I don't know. What is that? Oh, is that a spaceship? I don't know." And it's out of focus, and it might as well be a shot of the moon.
Yeah.
You know, it's
which is why we had to blow it
like
up.
all of a sudden it comes into focus, and it's a 76 ball. It's like, oh, never mind that shit. At the gas station. Oh, man, I'm flying. Yeah, I'm tripping balls, man. That was some grade A weed. Mm-hmm. Yeah,
well, and we will be getting into that with, what is it, next?
No, we're going to be getting into that with Knowing. Remember, Knowing is the one with the aliens.
That's it, yes.
Knowing with fucking, what's his name, for Project Shadow Chaser.
Well, we're going to need Pot for next. I mean, that's just going to help make sense.
Well, dude, look, I don't think I'm going to do another one of these sober, except possibly Face Off, since I like that one.
Well, see, I'm glad you're getting on my level because I still have my bottle of Coppola solution for all the Coppola films we watched with Cage.
Oh, I can't believe we did 3 Francis Ford Coppola movies on this podcast. That hasn't sunk in yet.
Speaking of which, Canada, look out. I've heard that Coppola is planning to bring the extended version of the Cotton Club to Canada. So be careful.
Hide,
look
Canada,
out.
Hide.
Be ready.
By the way, Tony Todd has like 10 movies coming out next year, so you're going to see Tony Todd again.
Ooh.
He's going good.
Yeah, no,
I'm okay with that.
I love you, Tony Todd. You are
Love you, Tony Todd.
You're our
So
favorite.
where are we at now? Are we ready to face off on this shit, or are we still shitting on it? We got more shit?
Well, I can't feel my face.
You here to get your shit?
Well, we could mention
Linda, did
what you
anybody
did
else
about
take
the
us up on
who
the
else?
challenge yet?
No, not yet.
God damn it, man.
No,
You
We're
can
still
bring
looking
up for
for
the
more
fine
challengers.
people the who else was up for the role of Mr. Sean Connery's part of John Mason.
We should probably mention that Arnold Schwarzenegger was very nearly in this movie.
That would have been very interesting.
He was offered the role of John Mason. Sean Connery's character is an MI5 guy, kind of like James Bond, who got caught with stealing America's secrets from J. Edgar Hoover and was imprisoned like ever since.
Yep,
but they offered this role to Schwarzenegger, but when they showed it to Schwarzenegger, the script was only 80 pages long and had a lot of like scribbles in the margins. He was like, "I'm not impressed. I would like to see something finished."
I really would have been curious to see where it went,
but instead he made Eraser with James Caan, which is when you break it down, it's about as good. It just didn't make money, you know.
Yeah,
Vanessa Williams is in it, you know.
The days of Total Recall were far gone.
Good old Total Recall.
The days of Total Recall.
I have been drinking.
When he was talking about Stanley, Cage said, quote, "I saw Stanley as a different kind of action hero, a reluctant one who is not heroic because he's got a steroid-ripped body or a robot head. I wanted to play a decent man who doesn't have an interest in killing and who doesn't swear." But he does end up swearing.
And he does end up killing.
Because he evolves.
Yeah, no, I mean, like, there are some interesting points where there's attempted, like, storytelling and character and cinematics in this, you know. There's Richard Harris's character of the general who's pissed off about military guys, their families not being compensated after doing covert ops, which is a real issue, by the way. Like, and not just for covert ops. Like, lots of military families do not get benefits; they get fucked.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
You know, like, and I don't really have a dog in that fight, but it's fucked up. You know.
Yeah, I mean, this movie had as much story as Galaxy of Terror did, at least character-wise. So you kind of just go with it.
Fucking love Galaxy of Terror.
I live and die by the crystals. And he did.
I wrote.
So,
Robert Englund,
guys...
you were rather good in that movie where the maggot fucked the girl.
Jesus Christ.
Some of his best work. Are you guys ready for Face Off?
Oh, I was born ready.
Oh, okay. I'm going to be interested to hear what you guys have to say because I'm fucking lost in this shit.
All right, Donnie, what you got?
Okay, so for the part of John Mason, I've got Dolph Lundgren. For the part of General Francis, Jean-Claude Van Damme. For director Womack, I've got Sylvester Stallone. For Stanley Goodspeed, we've got Ben Stiller. And for Carla, Miss Angela Lansbury.
Oh, hell yes! Vastly improved. What? No role for Sir Gary Daniels?
Well, I mean, if we had to, we could go with the man who needs no introduction from Top Gun and was Captain Dallas in Alien. I think we all know who this man is.
Oh, Tom Skerritt!
Yes. Tom Skerritt!
Bless you, Tom Skerritt.
Tom Skerritt.
I'll be your wingman anytime.
What if it was The Rock 72 and Stanley Goodspeed was played by Arnold Stang?
Jesus.
Is that your choice, Adrian?
With Lee Marvin as John Mason. Let me see, and then maybe you'd have what's his name as the Womack. You piece of shit, Womack.
Were those your choices this week?
Sure, we'll go with that. I cannot feel my face.
And for me, I chose as Mason either the OG Christopher Lee or Terrence Stamp. And for Stanley Goodspeed, I would choose either Billy Zane, your friend Billy Zane, or Ethan Hawke.
No, wait a minute. Billy Zane, that means that John Mason has got to be Tom Berenger over again. Yeah. Sniper 5, The Rock.
Yes.
A film by Luis Loza.
Then could we have Judd Law playing the Michael Biehn part?
Trust me, I'm always thinking about Jude Law.
It's like they saw that scene at the end of Witness and they just wanted to do it like twice over.
Yeah.
So there's the part where all the Marines get shot up in the shower scene, and the one guy who looks like Taylor Lautner 20 years earlier is all like, "No, I want to go up there and get killed too." And Sean Connery's like, "Don't get killed, dumbass." And they're like, no, I want to get dead too. And I'm going to look around. I forgot I'm a Marine. What's going on right now? Oh, right in the head. I'm dead. Oh, I'm going to fall
guys,
back
what's
down.
going on?
Freak out Cage. Hey, fellas.
I heard
See, that would have been perfect for John Leguizamo.
Yeah, in like 96, yeah.
Yeah,
definitely.
Why didn't we watch Executive Decision, you guys?
Why wasn't this a comedy with like Adam Sandler, Ben Stiller, John Leguizamo, Chris Farley,
Keenan Ivory Wayans?
Well, I mean, I don't know.
I'm
your
Ranger Bob.
Oh God,
Apparently, Ed Harris was really cracked up by Ranger Bob.
Wow.
Yes, he said he had a fit of the giggles that day, and his scene with Ranger Bob was supposed to go on a little longer, but he couldn't hold it together.
You could see it. You could see it. He can't help but crack a smile.
Yeah. So unfortunately, I'd usually have my clothes off segment here, but there was no nudity, just implied nudity.
Yeah,
there
was. Cage and girlfriend McGirlfriend fuck out there on the roof. You know, they're kind of fully dressed at the time.
Yeah.
And you can well believe she was the prom queen because she's a bubble-headed idiot.
Hey, she had sass, and they could not handle her in that car. She did what she did to go and find out where he was.
Bubblehead? Okay, fine, I'll do it myself. My fiance is Stanley Goodspeed, just so you know.
You know, to be fair, the FBI was pretty dumb shit in this movie because they all were eating free food without questioning why it was sent up to the room. Like, oh, you gotta try this lobster. Who cares? This isn't a distraction.
Gun. They're like, you don't need a gun, dummy. Gun.
Yeah.
And then she finds that he's gonna have to like get into scuba gear and or deep diver gear, and she says he can't even snorkel.
Now,
I was thinking like they were gonna make something with that, but they never did.
I appreciate the fact that unlike other certain Michael Bay movies, like the chick factor is very minimal in this one.
Absolutely.
Like girlfriends and daughters are represented, but they're by no means integral.
Yeah, you mean kind of like,
they're long enough to be like, yeah, they have somebody. I get it. They don't want San Francisco to get filled with poison gas. If their girlfriends weren't in town, though, they don't want they want everybody there to get dead.
And they also weren't filmed like Victoria's Secret models every time they were on screen either.
I mean, but they are both really terrible. And if they got hit with poison gas and it was on camera, I'd watch.
Yeah.
Well, that's like a Michael Bay thing. Like he just has like female characters that are just real dumbasses.
Well, that's the odd thing. It's like Michael Bay's like best female lead was probably Liv Tyler in Armageddon.
True.
Yeah.
So, do you guys have any cagey wisdom, Donnie?
Never get stuck between a rock and a hard case.
I wish I had a hard case of scotch.
I'll take the rapist.
Really mighty, my penis man. I don't mind telling you.
The penis, my dear.
I forget the rest, but your mother's a whore.
Jesus.
Adrian, do you have any drunk wisdom?
Dear sweet Jesus. Well, okay, apparently you can inject yourself in the heart with atropine any old time and go run a marathon and it'll be fine.
Mm-hmm.
Tell your Catholic girlfriend you'll be right back, and somehow she'll follow you to FBI headquarters, and it'll all work out, and you'll get married and have an ugly dog for no reason.
Yeah.
Hey, that dog wasn't ugly.
The dog is ugly.
Cutest in the whole movie, motherfuckers.
This was no John Wick.
My wisdom I found was two pieces. First being, don't trust the government, and we're all screwed because we're only one incident away from a horrible apocalypse.
They're the government. They're keeping them UFOs under wraps with them black helicopters. Mm-hmm.
Also, losers always whine about their best. Winners go home and fuck the prom queen or the prom king.
I prefer the pom king.
I don't want to drink
Pom-pom?
drink. It tastes like carroty shit.
Yeah.
I guess this is the point where I say, please listen, follow, rate, and review Cage's Kiss on Apple Podcasts, on Stitcher, Spotify, Podcoin, YouTube. And if you don't have a Podcoin account, be sure to use the code Cage's Kiss to get extra points for you and for us. We are also
Your
on
audience,
Google
you're
Play.
ugly, but I'm sober on different podcasts.
And let this be a lesson to you out there, kids. Know your limits.
And know your dealer.
Donnie, do you have any plugs?
Well, I'm still the boy who blew. I also am Unreal Goals at Twitter. And I still like to say, I really do think that he fucked that bird and birdie. Otherwise, I got nothing else to plug.
Oh, without a doubt. Adrian, what do you have to plug?
I put some shit up on my YouTube. Yeah, your mom. Yeah. I got a video on YouTube where I draw me a picture and rattle on about art books. You should go to my DeviantArt at LeoTheFox on DeviantArt.com. You should pay me to draw your shit because I do that kind of thing. Yeah.
It's really awesome.
Yeah.
Remember, you can find Cage's Kiss on Facebook and on Twitter at Cage's Kiss. You can visit our website at cageskiss.com, and you can write to us at cageskiss@gmail.com.
Go to our Patreon.
We don't have it set up yet.
Yeah, but once we have it set up, it's going to be fucking bitching, so keep checking.
Yeah.
We need merch. We will be seeing you next week with Con Air.
Yeah!
Gonna get us some Cusacks.
and Ving Rhames all over again. It's gonna be like Vuja Day.
Yeah.
Naughty.
Put the bunny back in the box.
No, that's the next one.
It's a real pity that Simon West's bullshit career didn't take off the way Michael Bay's did.
Yeah.
I mean,
At
like,
least we get
it's not
some
like
Steve
he's any
Buscemi.
worse. That's true. Yeah.
A babyface Buscemi.
Babyface is Dana Carvey in Racing with the Moon. Remember, like they had the on-camera abortion, and it was him.
Oh. And with that, Cage.
Turn around.
You can't end until
Look at what you see.
In your face, the mirror on your screen.
Make believe I'm everywhere. Living the light. Oh, wait. We are going to be sued for that, right?
Oh, totally, without a doubt.
Caroline.
That's why you're going to cut it out. Caroline. Please send us money so we could send Adrian to some treatment.
They didn't even write that song.
Cage. Peach. I could eat a peach for hours. Please. Kiss